Hello and welcome to the resources you may find helpful at presentation as part of our series on supporting families and young people through um, emotional difficulties relating to the COVID-19 pandemic. I am Dr. Clemmy Walker. I'm a clinical psychologist and I work in the NHS Grampian CAMHS early intervention team. So in this video, we're just going to have a bit more of a deep dive as to some of the resources that you may be familiar with or that you perhaps haven't heard of, and to have a look at the ones that we often recommend to families through the CAMHS service or through the Grampian Psychological Resilience Hub, and that we would understand to be appropriate and helpful resources to look at. Okay, so in terms of accessing information about support for a range of mental health problems and general well-being, this CAMHS resources website is a really helpful one. Okay, it's basically brought together a whole load of frequently recommended resources used by CAMHS teams across the country. So we can go and have a closer look at that one. Okay, so the website looks like this. It has got different sections on things that you can download. So if you click on that, it will take you to a range of documents that you can download and save onto a tablet or device, or things that you could read, print off, and read or fill in with your young people. So whatever you click on there, for example, that was a handout on the anxious child. And there it is for you to go through and learn a little bit more about supporting anxious children. It doesn't just cover anxiety. There's bits about just supporting general well-being through, tools such as mindfulness, supporting good self-esteem, thinking about sleep. If you're concerned about a young person's self-harm, lots of different topics are covered. Okay. It recommends a number of websites that again would be recognised through CAMHS as being helpful and appropriate websites to visit. It's just taking a wee moment to load up there. There we go. Okay, and if any of these look interesting to you, they might have relevant information for you or your young person, or even if your young person was having a wee explore, you just click on the icon and it will take you straight to that resource. Okay. So this one is a really helpful website with really easy to access bits and pieces as a part of that. We'd certainly be encouraging you to explore this website and see again what might be helpful and what might provide you with some of the information that you might have been looking for but unsure, well, where's the right place to start. There's a section within this website on coronavirus. It will provide you with access to some of the Grampian CAMHS produced resources for supporting young people to manage during the pandemic. Okay, so various resources there, and here are some of the ones produced by our service, and we'll have a bit of a closer look at them very soon. Okay, so that's the CAMHS resources website. There you go, it was created for young people, carers and professionals to pull together lots of helpful resources from across the internet that are available to help support mental health and well-being. Other resources that are helpful, you can go into YouTube and access lots of different videos, ones that are quite nice for younger children in terms of supporting them to do controlled breathing exercises or mindful exercises. Would be the Cosmic Kids Yoga channel, where the presenter will sort of have a themed yoga session, perhaps around Pokemon or Harry Potter. You can find basically something to suit the interest of any child to perhaps engage them in taking a bit of time to have a stretch out and manage their breathing. And the GoZen team have got quite a few nice wee videos up there around doing controlled breathing. Okay. Another fantastic resource for all parents and carers of young people at the moment is the Solihull Parenting online courses. Okay, so they can be found at inourplace.co.uk. If we just go to visit that website, you can currently use the code TARTAN to get free access to all of their resources. So if you find yourself at the website, what you want to do is start now, buy courses or apply code. Hop in there, put in the code TARTAN, continue, and then you fill in all of your personal information there. You want to put in the authentication code, which should just be this number in the orange box. Pop that in there. Your postcode, press continue, and once you've done that, the full menu of courses will come up. And there's things like understanding child development, understanding adolescent development. There's a lovely one in there for teenagers around understanding their teenage brains. And again, that's a very well regarded and helpful resource that may be worth spending some time working through. When thinking about supporting neurodiverse children and young people, so those with additional support needs, intellectual disabilities, or who are on the autism spectrum, there is a fantastic video that was made by the NHS East London Foundation Trust called Supporting Neurodiverse Children in Challenging Times, such as during self-isolation. It is such a super video that we decided that we couldn't add anything by doing our own. So if you are living at home with a neurodiverse individual, then it's well worth checking out. I would also recommend just having a wee flick through the Managing Anxious Feelings video that Annabelle and Karen have presented earlier on in this series, because a lot of the activities that they suggest in there, things such as controlled breathing and doing a bit of muscle relaxation, they can all be adapted to suit children with additional support needs who are on the autism spectrum. Controlled breathing can be done through blowing bubbles if your child is interested in that. If your child is quite sensory and likes to burn off their energy in a really active way, then encouraging them to bounce on their trampoline or trampette, going for puddle walks and having a good splash to really get all of their big muscle groups going. Again, it's a nice way of doing a bit of muscle relaxation, but just in an adaptive way that may be more appealing to children with additional needs. NHS Grampian also has Coping with COVID resource for neurodiverse children and young people. So there's a whole range of resources that have been developed by us in the early intervention team. If you go to camsgrampian.org, that's our website, that's where you'll find us. Click on resources. And here's the suite that's available. So there's one for under 12 that they can complete. It's got some worksheets, some activities for young people to go through to encourage them to think about how they can keep well in their mental health throughout lockdown. There's one for adolescents, one for individuals who have got learning disabilities, a resource pack there for parents of children with an autism spectrum condition, a bit of information for children to say it's okay to worry about going back to school. And again, we're starting to hear bits and pieces of that from young people, that they are worried about getting back to school at the moment. They're worried about, how busy it's going to be, what it's going to feel like to be around all of their friends again when perhaps they've not been in contact since before the school holidays. There's a resource pack there specifically for parents, and there's a nice one there around managing behaviour, and with that, that message that it's okay to find parenting hard during COVID-19. Okay, so I'm just going to take you to have a bit of a closer look at some of these resources. So this is the It's Okay to Find Changes Hard During COVID-19 resource pack. This is for parents with children with an autism spectrum condition to help with COVID-19 related changes. It runs through the contents there. tips around hand washing, managing, I suppose, access to stories from the media. I think there's probably been quite a helpful shift recently from lots of, worried talk and I think scary news stories that some of our young people were hearing. And now we're hearing a lot more about hopefulness from the vaccine. So I think that's been quite a helpful change. A wee bit of time to reflect on, do you talk to your child about COVID-19 and how to look after yourself, which is incredibly important at this time. Managing challenging behaviours, supporting routines and changes. So you just work through in your own time and see what was helpful there. Okay, so it's stuff like using visuals to support children's understanding. It talks through how to make sure that settings on devices and tablets are such that your young people are only able to access bits and pieces that you feel it would be appropriate for them to access. Okay. This one here looks at supporting people with learning disability to understand social distancing rules, for example. It's okay to find parenting hard during COVID-19. Okay, just outline typical challenging behaviours you might see, having family discussions, parenting tips, use of reward charts, thinking about supportive family time, the use of routines. Okay, and again, just a nice one to be able to go through when you have some time to, I think, just remind ourselves that lots of children are finding the current situation difficult. Lots of families are experiencing behavioural and emotional changes in their children, and that whilst it is concerning to families, it also I think makes sense in terms of the fact that we're going through a very unprecedented situation at the moment, and there has been massive disruption to daily life for so many families, and children, young people perhaps being particularly sensitive to that. Okay. And there's another one here for parents that they might find helpful. Having difficult conversations, managing anxieties related to coronavirus, activities to do at home, thinking about building in consistent routine, particularly important for getting young people back to school. All right. Now, top tips for using self-help resources, because I suppose what we know is it's not enough just to go away and read bits and pieces. Once we've done our reading and found out the bits that are helpful for our young people, how do we then put these into practice? And I think always coming from that place of your child best. And it may be that you read something and think, oh, I'm just not quite sure that's right for my child. But you may have a way that you think would be helpful to tweak it that will make it more accessible for your young person. Younger children, they might prefer breathing or relaxation apps or watching videos. But some might prefer reading stories or being read to. Other children might want you to do it alongside them. Any of that is okay, I suppose, as long as it's supporting your child to access helpful coping strategies in a way that they're motivated to come alongside and give them a go with you. If your child is maxed out on anything that seems like homeschooling, which would be so expected at the moment, everybody's been working so hard to get school bits and pieces done throughout the working week at home with parents and carers who are not teachers. And I think children find it really difficult to see carers and parents taking that role actually. You might want to try instead picking a couple of relaxing activities and just casually introducing them on your daily walk, whilst you're doing chores together in the evening, or if you're going for a wee drive. Talk to other parents. Chances are they're at least wondering about how lockdown and COVID is affecting their child. Maybe they've noticed changes in their child, and they might have read something helpful, or there's something going on that their child found really helpful that you might want to give a go at home yourself. I'd encourage you to invite your older children to look through the resources available and encourage them to let you know which ones they're drawn to or which ones look most helpful. And then together you can think about how to approach the advice and strategies in them together. You can then encourage your young person to pick a time of day to practice or to do that enjoyable activity, and just give them that wee nudge to set a reminder on their phone to give it a try, for example. For older children, where it's maybe just really difficult to draw them into any conversations about their mental health, maybe that's just not what you do as a family, or maybe your adolescent has become quite closed in and is struggling with communication. You could print off some of the PDFs in the CAMHS resources website, for example, and you could just maybe leave them lying around the house for your young person to find. Leave a set in the toilet when they're in there, it might just catch their attention. Sitting on the coffee table at home. I suppose that's quite a nice non-confrontational way to let them know that you've maybe noticed that they're finding it hard at the moment and you're open to thinking about things that might be helpful with them. The Grampian COVID-19 Psychology Resilience Hub is for people who reside in the Grampian area. Okay, through the hub, adults, children, adolescents can access up to 3 sessions of telephone support for mental health difficulties that have arisen due to the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. It's not 3 sessions of therapy, it's 3 sessions of mental health first aid, with perhaps some signposting and some relevant advice along the way. There's service provision there for all adults. You can self-refer in for yourself if you find that you're struggling with the demands of COVID and the changes that have occurred and the personal impact on you or your family. You can put a referral in on behalf of your young person up to 18 years of age, or children 14 and over can refer in for themselves as well. Okay, so in terms of accessing that, this is the link, or just Google these key phrases, Grampian COVID-19 Psychology Resilience Hub, and we'll wait for that to load up. Okay. Need to set the cookies there. That is Dr. Lynn Taylor telling us a little bit about what the Resilience Hub is. It tells us about its opening hours. And then just at the bottom here, if you click on the how do you self-refer to the Psychological Resilience Hub, just let that load up. Here we are. And there's the relevant forms. Forms for adults 18 years and over, for children, with the parents completing that, and for children 14 to 18. So if we click on the parent form, for example, it starts off by telling us what the hub is for. And then you just put in your relevant information, how you're happy to be contacted, GP name and practice. Once you put that information on, you go to the next page. There's a bit more information to fill out, and then that goes to the hub and somebody will give you a call back at a time that you've indicated is suitable for you.